I don't want to set the world on fire. I
Please
just
welcome
want
Tom
to start
Summery.
a flame in your heart.
I'm here, and your
In
white
my
privileges are
heart, I
going to save
have
you
but
tonight, okay, guys?
one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim.
Any government is to monopolize as much violence as possible in order for it to inflict it on as many citizens as possible.
I've been on this like weird anarchist arc for a few months now. This is playing by their rules, exactly how they are written.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame.
You're watching the Dog and Chicken Show. Like, share, subscribe.
Hello and welcome to Big Buckin Empire presents the Dog and Chicken Show. And this is one of the greatest endeavors you'll ever experience on this platform and channel. This is the best of, folks. This is the best of 2021, part 4. Folks, I literally just got done watching this again. And mind you, I put all these things together over the course of the year. And I forgot about them then, and I forgot about it again. But I forgot how fucking brilliant this show and all of its components are. Like, the people featured in these best ofs were brilliant. And the fact that some people are still not subscribed out there, I know there's only a few, most popular on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook. Obviously, the numbers reflect that. They really should. So, like, it just bears repeating. This is the best show on YouTube that you're not watching. And if this is your first time seeing us and seeing this show, like, how do you not fall in love? Because what's about to come across your screen, and I mean it in every sense of the word, come across your screen, it's just pure brilliance. Bourbon. All right, what do we got on the slate here for this best of, folks? We got 4 episodes covered in this one. We've got episode 82 featuring Chicken, myself, Lynn, Brendan Roy at Dad's Worldwide, Tom Foolery, and one Phil KOE. This is a stacked one. We covered a lot of shit on this episode. Episode 82. It's a really good one. Go back and watch this. Touched on a lot of stuff. But here are the highlights. We started out a little itchy and a little sexy, because that's what we do here. Then we get into units of measurement when we're talking about one of our most private areas, because, frankly, that's an important issue that not enough people talk about, but we're bold enough to do it. This is one of the last mask debates that we have on the Dog and Chicken Show, because after this point, it really wasn't that big of a fucking deal, let's be frank. And then we kind of finish up this one with talk about the border, Kamala Harris being a weirdo that laughs at awkward situations, and, Nancy Pelosi being sexy. She's not. And then, some more border talk. Some honest-to-goodness professional border talk and debate. Now, this is actually important stuff. It's not just all shits and giggles here, folks. There's some real talk. Then we get into episode 83. This features Chicken, Kevin, myself, and Lynn. This starts out with one of the best promos, rants, segments, I think, that we did all of 2021. And it's called Ruffled Feathers. It's just Chicken ranting about shit. And I think that this is one of the best segments he's ever done. Not kidding. I forgot how good this was. This is just straight to the point, honest, and he doesn't skip a beat, even when people try to make him break. This is a really great segment. He talks about the NIH and Fauci, gain of function, whether or not the COVID origin came from a lab leak, which now, we know things that we didn't know back then, but we suspected. And we were getting canceled and we were getting shadow banned for talking about it. Things that we now know to be true, to be verifiable, but then we weren't allowed to talk about it. And this was one of those instances where I think we probably did get a shadow ban. But it's excellent then. It's excellent now. And then towards the end of that, he gets into some really blatant, hypocritical 60 minutes featuring on Ron DeSantis. This is a good segment, too. Towards the end of this one, Kevin gets really spicy. And I mean it. He gets really spicy. Things get hot and heavy over on his end. You got to watch to get the reference. And this one ends with a really sweet segment. Loved it. Lynn gets a haircut. Hashtag Oliver Strong. That's a good one. You don't want to miss this part. Coming into episode 84, Brendan Roy at Dad's Worldwide, Chicken, Lynn, and Phil, KOE. I'm missing from this one, but don't let that discourage you. Watch anywho. I promise it's still pretty sexy. This one starts out with Brendan actually foreshadowing meeting Phil. It's kind of a cute little quip. It just tickled me pink. Then these assholes get into some sex doll talk, and I'm not even there. Like, how fucking rude. Seriously. But it's still important issues, folks. You can't not watch because I'm not there. Even though you want to, I get it. Then they get into judge packing and Jerry Nadler being a fucking moron hypocrite. This is a really great spot. Don't miss this. This is hilarious. And it's the epitome of why politicians are piles of shit. And that one finishes up with a musical hypothetical and Phil singing some Twisted Sister. So yeah, don't miss that part. And then rounding out this best of, we've got episode 85. It's the main crew. It's Tony, Chicken, and Phil. Phil spits fire on the Derek Chauvin verdict. This is all really on point. Then I get into a lot of truth and advice when dealing with social media and the false flags that it creates. How people form opinions based off of their social media and how that's probably not a great idea. Chicken offers some honesty as well. And then we get into, I hate to end it on a bad note, but there was some body cam footage of a teen that was killed by a cop. And we talk about the knee-jerk reactions to such an incident and how if you don't have the whole story, maybe it's not a good idea to take to social media and plant your flag, especially for celebrities, when they have a massive, monumental following that, honest to God, is very, very influential on the world. You have a responsibility to not influence people in the wrong direction when you yourself don't know what the fuck you're talking about yet. Yeah. Hashtag outrage. But yes, that is essentially what you're going to see on this episode. This is a really good one. Folks, I promise you do not want to miss this. I'm glad that I was here to introduce you to it. Sit down, strap in, raise a glass, whatever you're drinking, whiskey or not, doesn't matter. This is a fun one. Best of 2021, Part 4.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt here, but I just got bit on the fucking arm by my first mosquito of the year.
Aww.
Spring
I'm
has
gonna be itchy
sprung,
all night.
fellas. Spring has sprung.
It kind of makes my arm itch when you said that. That's
Yeah, my neck tingled.
So we're going to use this one to eventually segue. I'm trying to
Just
stop.
goes with it.
Just segue.
He tries to gloss over it.
Yeah.
It started with a
Speaking of tigers,
yeah,
Speaking of,
Carol fucking Baskins. No,
and there's a cackling KG says, "Hi, fellas."
oh jeez.
All right, you just lost all your Twitch followers.
Yeah, two of them. All fucking two of them. Fuck them. No.
great comment here. Eric says Lynn needs a G-string. I'm sure he has one, but would he be willing to sport it for us?
I mean, you didn't pay me enough. $20 is $20.
I do 15.
That's his number.
That's the number. Like you just threw it out there.
Yeah, he's just like,
That's
yeah,
what it
it's like $20. It's $20.
I'll take more.
Now,
It's good for 10,
if
but
you
we
want
gotta
to see
start high.
less,
Yeah.
less is more.
Well, I mean, actually, guys, you see a hoodie right here, but I just want to. Never mind.
I'm pantsless.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
So double mask and no pants. I love this. This is
know it.
starting off good, guys.
Yeah.
Pants off,
Oh
pants
yeah,
off.
were we talking about masks?
Yeah,
live?
Shit, are we live?
damn it.
See what you missed out on last week, Chicken?
Yeah, right.
We might as well just change the name of this episode to Sidetracked.
Yep.
That's what we're gonna do.
That's kind of the common theme of this.
Well, it's called above average, so I'm assuming we're measuring tonight live on air.
To be fair.
To be fair. Okay, so where do you put the ruler?
Not at the balls, but at the base.
But isn't the balls the base?
No.
So you have to like jam it in there, or do you put it on the top?
The balls are here, and then the base is here, and then the shaft begins.
So, Brandon, you measure from underneath, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm asking. I mean, I don't know what the official is.
Well, what did you do?
I'll just show you.
So,
who hasn't used a ruler? Come on, be fucking real here.
My thong is in the way.
Yeah.
I put it on the wrong way. So
I keep seeing the TikTok that says if you pull your fingers apart like this, that this is the length.
Well, remember Tony when we were kids? It was this.
Well, no, it wasn't.
Why? Because I got a longer pinky and separation and more flexibility than you. It can't be this.
Pinky gave him an extra half inch.
Remember when we were kids, it was like this. Like, well, I wasn't really comparing back then, but yeah, sure.
Yes.
At the base of the shaft. Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
Good job, Eric.
Your thumb is 3 times your. I have a big thumb.
Yeah,
so
that was the TikTok video. Was like measure your thumb times 3 or whatever, and it was like how many people are sitting there staring at their thumbs doing this right now. It was like,
oh my god, there's no way that's right. Holy god, I'd be in the fucking movies, man. No way, no way. How do you know?
10-2-10. This show is suffering from a critical lack of Phil KOE. Is there a possible way to remedy this crisis? We can talk about dicks more.
We can put on a blazer and just stand in front of the flag and talk over everybody. Yes.
Oh shit! Here we go.
We got a flag. I don't have a flag with me. I got one in my garage.
You got a green screen, don't
you? You got a green screen, right?
Chroma?
I have to go look it all up. I got my blazer. I'm halfway there.
Your lack of preparation is absurd.
Sorry, it was right next to me. That wasn't. Fuck off. I guess I'll just hook up that TV and like play American flag on there like I used to.
Yeah. Do one that waves.
Yeah, it's got to be animated. Otherwise, it's no good. Yeah. Anyway, so
didn't work.
Tony, you blow pretty well though.
That was impressive. There was a lot of. That was a lot.
Didn't even pass out.
Yeah.
The reason my thumbs are so big.
That had to been like 15 psi for sure.
Next time, cup the stripes.
Cup Alaska. Look over. See it? Cup Alaska.
Cup Alaska. Yeah.
And then blow. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that did work.
Chicken's never more than 5 seconds away from wearing a suit. That's right.
Got to be prepared.
I was saying if I walked into your store and said I took an antibody test and I know I had it already, I'm immune right now. I took the test yesterday. Would that make you feel safer if I walked into the store?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Right, so, yeah, sorry. Go.
But you're lying.
I could be lying, and that's no different. And here's where I wanted to I'm going to give you like a dramatic. I might be conflating this a little bit, but like many people have multiple sexual partners and contract STDs and don't even know they contracted an STD. And sometimes that STD doesn't show up, and then they have sex with another person and give it away. Like that's where Brandon's kind of saying, well, dude, sometimes that shit's life. Now okay. How many people? Let's take this back to AIDS. Now, AIDS didn't go all over the goddamn place, but there was people that knew they had AIDS and were purposely spreading it or not telling people. Like, yeah, and that was horribly deadly. And we didn't know how to control it or what to do about it. We didn't even know the origins of it until the last like fucking few years. So the fact that fuck you, Nick. Ah, damn it. God, the fact that like we want to make this disease that we know is very focused on killing. Let's say this disease is a serial killer, and this serial killer is specifically looking for people with comorbidities, old people specifically, but they come into contact with everybody else and decides not to kill them. Okay, that's literally what we're fucking dealing with right now. When it comes to your comfort, like if you knew this guy was a serial killer, comes into your restaurant or place of business or whatever it may be, they're not there to kill you. You really don't care. Like, I don't know. This is a horrible analogy. I'm going to stop right here.
I would hope that they're serial killers. The government has already done something about them, and that they're not coming into my restaurant.
All right, my weird take on, it's not even a weird take. It's fucking America, and I'm just gonna have to go with like, okay, I was at a bar in the last couple of years, and there was a sign on the fucking wall that says, "We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone." So you're sitting there as either the manager or the fucking owner of this store or shop or wherever the fuck you're at, and this guy walks in without wearing a mask. You say, "Hey, go in and put a mask on." They say no. You'd be like, "All right, bye. I'm not going to give you any service." Because
it's nice,
it's still
but
your American right to refuse them fucking service, and it's
not.
your fucking right.
It's not.
But if you don't want their goddamn service, then just tell them to leave and kick rocks. If they're
Yeah.
not wearing a mask when they come in and it scares you or if it fucking hurts your shit and makes you fucking think that you can get COVID, you tell them to leave. You have every fucking right because that's America.
That's true.
God,
If
I love saying America. America.
If I was, you know, if
Lynn is our
America
American flag tonight.
was run, if America was run under socialism, then that would actually be true. But I work for a franchise; they're the ones who decide this, not me. So I know, Lynn, you're a big fan of socialism, and I can't get you off of it. And I'm trying to convince you of capitalism here, but you're making a lot of good points.
So
that
full
I
of
can't.
shit. Your fucking eyes are brown, buddy.
What
This is a triple comedy, Tom.
with that was Kamala Harris laughing after being asked, "Are you going to go to the border?" And she went, "Not today," because she's a fucking lunatic. That was weird.
Yeah, that was uncomfortable.
Horrible. She laughs about everything. It's so.
That was like a fucking a villain laugh too. It was
Yeah,
just like,
yeah. I'm not going to the border.
Well, I mean, like everyone has that nervous twitch of some sort, right?
Oh,
hers is definitely laughing, right? Like hers is definitely that cackle. I mean, that's almost a Hillary Clinton cackle. Yeah.
And Tom is using at the site of Nancy Pelosi.
So
swooning.
So and then we had the kids in cages are back now.
He called me a commie. I had to fucking do it.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's disturbing. That's so disturbing. So kids in cages are back. So Obama made the cages. Then Donald Trump closed the cages after getting roasted by the Dems for so long. God damn it, Tony, stop it. He's not even on the screen now. He's still fucking
Look at Tom. Look at Tom. That smile. I haven't seen something that big in a while.
Oh my God.
He's like, hello.
He's
like
2021's looking all up. You guys got to see it from this angle.
Toss that sound.
Well.
That's
That's
a
a great
I'm
fucking
so glad
intro.
that we are talking about a very important topic, and hopefully we will find out that someday it can actually be. Aquí es todos diferentes, todos diferentes, en la frontera, en la frontera, en la frontera. Pleasure to be here, folks.
All right, so kind of going off what Brandon was saying was, summer is coming, and it's coming quick. We're going to see more truckloads of immigrants dead in the back of trailers like we did years ago, and it's going to get worse this year. And just mark my words. I mean, you guys can fucking stick it to the tape and see if I'm predicting it right. But we're going to see a lot of dead immigrants in the back of fucking trailers, like on the side of the road where the truck driver just disappeared and fucking all these people are dead because they were in the back of the truck. Just like back in the day and, well, a few years ago. I mean, this is going to keep going. And summer's coming and it's going to get hot in Texas. I know they had a lot of snow, but it's going to get warmer.
So they were the same under Clinton, Bush, and Obama, and then the Trump administration changed the counting style for I keep wanting this deportations, and the numbers went way down. Where in reality, like it was probably about the same as Obama. I don't know if Obama actually ended up with more than Trump or not.
Elaborate
but like,
how the numbers changed.
So lots of the people at the border were immediately being put into vans and driven right back over the border. They weren't like they were doing absolutely nothing.
That happens all the time. That happens all the time. That's like nothing new.
Right. And so those people were counted as deportations at the time. Whereas under Trump, they weren't counted as deportations. They were just counted as, I don't know what you call
voluntary removals.
Sure.
Voluntary return. Actually,
right. So they reclassified that part of it. And then but it seems as though Biden isn't even doing that part. He's just bringing them in. They claim asylum and then they get released within a couple of weeks. I know that they did, like, from what I understand, they've changed it to where, like, they're not splitting up the families anymore, which I suppose is good. But there's so many, like, kids just coming over by themselves. Like, what do you do? Like, if they don't have family over here, but you don't want to send them back, what do you do with them? You put them in foster homes? What do you do with those kids?
Well, we do have they do have a system for that, and they do have it. Like you have to, when a juvenile shows up who's unaccompanied, they actually have a process for that. Like they have a within 24 hours that kid has to be in the protective services of I don't remember the name of the agency, but like you have to call them immediately when you come in contact with this person, and you have to get them all set up. They come get the person, they stay for 72 hours in another facility, and then they're placed in a different facility after that. So there are unaccompanied juvies. There is a complete policy on it, and it's about that freaking thick. So like the federal government does have policies on that. However, when you get inundated with 12 to 13 to 15,000, whatever it was, I forget what it was, even Obama the first time, and then and then Trump, and then now it's happening again. Like when you get inundated like that, you don't have the infrastructure, you don't have the operational readiness to do that type of thing. So it is really difficult. So again, they do have the policies in place. But what do you do when they just get flooded like that?
I like immigration overall because it seems to help the economy. It definitely helps.
But nobody has the right answer.
Immigration is fine. Illegal immigration is no.
Right. But but when we change the laws to say like, hey, we could allow more legal immigration, that would help the economy.
Yeah.
That's when people are like, no, don't change the well, and that's the point. There's an unemployment rate that we want to look at and say like, okay, there's a certain range here that we want to keep. And we want to open the floodgates and shut them according to unemployment. That's the way it should work. That's what we should be looking at. It's saying,
but you're assuming that they don't do that now.
Right. They don't. Well, they seem to do it more based more on politics, and that's fine.
No, so there's several. I could go down a rabbit hole with this. I mean, there's several different visas that you can get to come in the United States: immigrant visas, non-immigrant visas, work visas. Like you literally have to prove in order to get a work visa here that there are not enough United States citizens to actually fill that position. And
we're talking about like asylum claimer or people who are claiming asylum.
That's not even included. That's not included.
I know. I'm saying I'm only talking about that because lots of times they use that through like a political lens to say like we're denying or accepting asylum based on like how good we need to look right now. So we can say like we either accepted this many or we can say no, we denied this many. You're welcome, everybody. Like depending one way or the other, you can do it politically.
Right.
And
okay, but do you know how many people the United States take in immigrant, non-immigrant? Yearly legally it's in the millions, like it's in the millions. So like, what's the magic number?
Well, no,
Brendan,
you'll never get a number. That will never happen.
Brendan,
you will never get
right? You'll never get a number. Brendan's right though, at a certain extent. And I saw this in the comments. We saw the indentured servitude, 5 to 7 years, maybe. Like
I need to respond to that. I really need to respond.
Hold on. I'll let you respond to it. There are no fucking like. There's no line in the sand here. That's the problem with this whole immigration deal is we've not drawn the minimalist line in the sand of like every presidency. It seems like we just have this like there's a bunch of people coming to our border. Oh, they're gonna take our jobs. And then the next 4 years when it's a different fucking party, then it's like, oh my God, they're bringing drugs across the border and giving us COVID. Like it's set some fucking rules and like let's do this and build upon those. But nobody wants to because this is a voting block of people that you want to bring in. That's honestly what this is a lot of times. And I'm honestly intrigued this year because you've seen the voting block of the Hispanic community shift to Donald Trump.
We're now illegal.
Just go ahead and ask since
unless you're in
put
prison.
My hand up, and just go ahead and just say what does it take to become a United States citizen? What kind of test do you got to do? What are the fucking loops you got to jump through to become a United States citizen? And is this the reason why so many people are jumping in illegally? I mean, I want to take the devil's advocate fucking answer on this one or like question here is because apparently the test you got to take to become a United States citizen, half the fucking kids in high school can't fucking pass it. Yeah. Half of us couldn't pass the question.
Okay, so how about to get entered into the U.S. you would pass our GED?
Okay, so. Yeah, the GED. I don't know.
We're gonna be letting people in by the millions every day.
I don't know. Border Patrol agents like, there's gonna be some problems with that.
No. You gotta speak a second language.
This is a really good point, though. This is a really good point.
No, I'm glad. I'm really glad that speak like 4 fucking goddamn languages.
These standards
and they can't come in.
These standards are set high for a reason. It's because we want the best of the best first. And there's ways to get in.
You're tired. You're huddled masses. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so forget the test for right now. That's actually later on. In order for you to become a citizen, you have to get petitioned. You have to get a visa, whether it's an immigrant, non-immigrant. Eventually, you want it to be an immigrant if you want to become a citizen. And then what you get is a green card, right? They call it also a LAPR card, legally admitted permanent resident. So you get this card, and then for 4 years, you have to have this card. Now, I make it sound really simple. However, in order to get an immigrant visa, you have to do quite a few different things. You have to prove that you're not going to become a public charge. What does that mean? What's a public charge? You're not going to be a bum. You're not going to collect welfare. You're not going to, you're not going to instantly come in and start collecting Social Security. You're not going to instantly come in and be a boon on the healthcare system. Like, you have to prove that, like, you're here almost to be a productive citizen, right? So with that, also, if you're coming in as an immigrant, you also has to kind of have a job almost ready lined up. The only other way other than that is you have to have an immediate relative. And that could be anything from an uncle, a father, mother, brother, sister. So,
or a dude from India that just happens to own a couple hotels in your neighbor in like a local state. And
yeah. Okay. So those people are bringing business. They have to invest like $200,000-$300,000 into. They have to prove that they are like throwing money basically at something in order to come here with an immigrant visa, and they have to do it for so long before it actually turns into, because it's conditional at first, because they don't want people just to pay for it and bail, right? So say your 4 years passes. So after that, then you apply, because you're conditional at this point, then you apply and get your naturalization. Now, in order to do that, you have to not be charged with any what they call crimes of involving moral turpitude, murder, smuggling, drugs, like the whole 9 yards, right? Like, you have to be a moral person. So meanwhile, you're renewing your card every year, which is not cheap. It's like $500 for a card. Like, so imagine going to the DMV and trying to pay for your license every year for like $500. It's not cheap, right? So then so you got to prove that you're not doing it. Then you start doing those classes and that type of thing. That's where the test comes in. So there's a lot to do before that test. Like, that test is probably the least of your worry in the beginning, right? The biggest thing you're worried about is actually getting that visa, establishing yourself in the U.S. And honestly, in my personal experience, the people that I have met that have had legally admitted permanent resident cards, green cards, they just keep the green card. It's easier. Yeah, and they can just stay in the United States, and they don't care about voting in the federal elections. They don't care about, because you know what they do? They come here and they work. They send a whole bunch of money home, and then they go home and they're able to travel the border, and that's really all they want.
Yeah, most illegal immigrants come over on a work visa and then stay after the work visa has expired. Like, that's how we get
work visas and travel visas. A lot of people come in on B1, B2s, which are vacation visas. They come in, they stay.
Yep. Tom Fullery.
Yeah, so if anything, I'd like to leave you guys with we should all, like, I guess, pay attention to our surroundings and be aware of what it is that we give off. And I'm not talking about COVID, talking about your white privilege. We all need
Wow. Have you checked your white privilege today?
White privilege, yes.
I'm not gonna say
I really want to hear Tom Thummery's view on this.
Yeah, that's a much better version.
I don't understand how people are not red pilled. This week alone, we've had some of the most insane fucking news stories that we've been talking about of this is a problem and we need to look into this, and just gets ignored week after week, and we're just being told, well, the media's not lying to you. The media's telling you the truth. There's nothing to see here, folks. It looks bad, but it doesn't mean it's bad. So there's this one that came out. So the NIH is and this kind of goes into two big news stories that are like, how the fuck are you not red pilled after watching this? So the NIH it's the National Institute of Health, which is ran by Dr. Fauci, right? Yeah. They are now in the hot seat because of the investigations of the origins of the coronavirus in the Wuhan lab. So the WHO and several entities across, now this is news stories, this is an opinion, this is what's coming out of the news, have completely denounced the thought or fact that it could have come from a lab leak. So the lab leak hypothesis has been like completely just shut down. The media is, in my opinion, shutting it down because of, well, basically they're trying to just hide it, and it's a useful idiot type narrative to where they can make people look racist or seem phobic of whatever is convenient that week. And right now, of course, there's the big push on stop Asian hate, which I agree with. That should have been a thing over a year ago too, along with everything else. But now that we're trying to just like push this aside and act like there is no chance that there was a Wuhan lab leak is crazy. And so now the NIH, after further and further analysis and investigation, the Washington Examiner has come out with a story about how the GOP is putting them on blast. Not only is the GOP putting them on blast, but as you start looking into this, The Hill reported today that what's happened is the scientific community. So there's several factions. Is you have the media that's scaring the shit out of everybody. And I always thought, and this was almost a black pill for me, to be real. I thought the scientific community was not speaking out against this because they were afraid of being called racist. It's actually worse than that. So the NIH, back in, I think it was 2014, along with the federal government, said, hey, you can no longer fund this gain of function research with American taxpayer dollars without having oversight. So the National Institute of Health created an oversight committee. They have done zero oversight into any money that went to this Wuhan lab and to look into gain of function research. There's been zero oversight since then. All investigations have found. So they're not even doing what they said they needed to do in order to fund them. Now, there's this EcoHealth Alliance that has actually been kind of been the middleman funding this and helping US dollars go into the Wuhan lab to research this gain of function. Now, the gain of function is how do you get a bat virus into a human, basically, and they research the genomes and try to build vaccines for future possible diseases. It's really important research. It's really good to do. It's just, hey, if we're going to pay China to do this, like, we need to have some oversight in how this is working. So EcoHealth Alliance has been kind of the front group for this and making the money flow. So then the scientific community come to find out it's not the fear of the media calling them racist or ruining their careers and smearing them in the media. It's because they're scared to death that they're not going to get funding for a whole bunch of these other things. Not necessarily, the media probably plays a little part of it, but Fauci and leading the NIH, and the one guy that is part of the WHO's investigative team into the lab leak hypothesis and anything in the origins of the coronavirus. One guy for the WHO in the US has been investigating this. Guess what his job is? He is the head of the EcoHealth Alliance and serves to lose millions of dollars along with anybody he's involved with, of course, at that point. So the whole thing fucking stinks. Now, this is just like following the money back to like, how the fuck is all of this happening? We all know this sounds fucking ridiculous. How are we not even looking at a possible lab leak? And they're like, oh, obviously it's not. Well, are you sure? Because there's a lot of people saying it is, and we're not even investigating it. 60 Minutes ran a fucking story on this, and they interviewed this guy that's leading the EcoHealth Alliance, and they're like, so what'd you do to look into this? He goes, well, we asked him some questions. And they're like, so you took their word for it? He's like, well, what else am I supposed to do? Like,
investigate, because that's your job to
like,
investigate the things.
You should get a private eye.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe he does have handcuffs. I don't know what he's allowed to do or not to do in this whole scenario. But so 60 Minutes runs this thing. Like, we're supposed to just be okay with this. They're like, well, they said they didn't do it, so I thought it was pretty fucking legit.
So this means we have to start taking like murderers for their word at trial, and they're like, no, I'm not guilty, and they're like, yeah, okay, that's fair.
So you got like media doing this weird like fear mongering thing. 60 Minutes, the pinnacle of news. This is like, when you think of 60 Minutes, you're like, fuck, there's some hard hitting stories they've broken. It's always really provocative. It's something fucking great.
20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, guess what they did this last week? They ran a story on fucking DeSantis, the governor of Florida. Fucking hit job. I've never seen 60 Minutes. Not only did they fuck up this Wuhan story and not trace it back, which was The Hill, like, didn't even try that hard. And they're like, dude, check this out. Like, it's all fucking right here. And then you have this DeSantis hit piece. They went out and asked DeSantis to come in and have an interview because of Publix. It was the grocery store down there in Florida. It's like a Hy-Vee to most of the people that watch this show around the Midwest.
Looks like it's spelled Publix.
Yeah, it does. It does look like it says Publix. But anyway, so they gave Matt Gaetz's campaign $100,000. And so the state of Florida granted them rights to the vaccine and a lot of money, pretty much is what it comes down to. So 60 Minutes is like, they called him for an interview. He declined. He's like, I don't want no part of it. Dude's probably busy trying to run a state, whatever. And so they go down there while he's giving a press conference and start asking him questions. And they like confront him and say, how is this not a pay to play? They gave you $100,000 so they could get the vaccine. How is this not a pay to play scheme? They run this like little 30-minute segment on 60 Minutes, making him look like Trump. He does this whole like, they like cut off most of what he said, took it completely out of context, and it was a short answer. And then he goes, you know what? No, we're not. No, we're done here. Like he did the whole fucking Trump thing. That's what they aired. But thanks to fucking the internet and the age that we're in now, the whole fucking clip got fucking let loose. And he went through the explanation of not only did I did not push it on them. They were the only one that stepped up, said they were ready to do it. We did a small trial. I went to those trials. All the customers and people that got vaccines said this is the way to go. Then I presented it to the local authorities in Palm Beach and wherever the fuck else it was. And they overwhelmingly said Publix is the right way to go because 90% of our elderly population live within 1.5 miles of Publix. And if they're able to do it, this is what we need to do. And these were Democratic leaders in different counties across the state that decided to go with Publix. It had nothing to do with him. It had nothing to do with the $100,000. It was a total fucking hit job. And 60 Minutes fucking aired the goddamn thing. So journalism is fucking dead. If you're not red-pilled now and you still think that they're trying to give Americans the truth and the real story, you're fucking lying to yourself. I don't have fun on Twitch. Oh, where's Kevin?
He just gets some booty clapping.
What's up? Suck my ass.
There you go. Yeah.
And I'll listen to it all the way through. And that's where I finally come Aw, loving you is easy because you look like Mario. Doodin'.
Starting an OnlyFans.
We are?
Yeah.
We're gonna make sex tapes?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, sex tapes. Hell yeah.
Sex robot experts starting to make sex tapes with a real girl. Love
Whoa.
it. Hey, does that taste like ginger?
Does it taste like ginger?
You're getting hot.
Your dick?
Smack him.
Oh, damn.
Choke him.
Only fans.
Get out of here.
Only fans subscriptions. Get right here.
He's like, get out of here. You're embarrassing me.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
uncles are on
Pinch
here.
him.
Gosh.
Smack him in the face.
Gosh.
She can't hear you, Tony. You cunt.
Hey,
Yeah,
put the headphones on her real quick. I just got to tell her something. Come on. Yep. Hey.
Hold on, Jordan. Hold on.
Hey, we've been trying to reach you about your car's fucking extended warranty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even have a car.
Damn it.
Smack him in the face.
I mean your broom. Your broom's
Smack him.
extended warranty. So you
Choke
set
him.
yourself up for that one.
Which broom?
The one you drive to work.
I have a couple.
Pinch his nipple.
Pinches, squeeze it.
Skeet,
Just
skeet.
like
Shit.
hard.
Who said that?
Hey, how you doing? I'm Uncle Lynn, by the way.
Hi, I'm Brittany.
Hi, Brittany. I'm Brittany,
It's
bitch.
Brittany, bitch. Yeah.
Saturday.
Brittany, bitch.
Nice.
Oliver Strong, folks.
Oh yeah, cut that hair
Oh,
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, those of you guys that were cool enough to watch the whole fucking show, you get to see this beautiful shit in fucking action.
Get a nice
Good
clipper.
Yeah.
Fucking right
Don't
down
fuck with the
this
beard, man. I'm gonna have to keep that.
If you touch his
Keeps me
beard,
looking
I'll kill
sexy.
you.
Ugh.
Want some resemblance of a mohawk here before we go completely off.
Did you start off in the middle or no?
Kind of.
It's not very centered, but chicken's also blind, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Put it in your mouth, bitch.
Yeah, I'll fucking stand. You just look at this. Chicken the barber. He's like Floyd the barber, but
Floyd.
By the way, Yanked Up Studio says another bottle of Maker's Mark if you hit the
I still
beard.
feel long hair on the top of my head. It doesn't feel right.
I know. I left a little.
Like the segment.
Chicken heard me.
Please.
Here, you have like a.
I look like I got radiation poisoning.
It's like a Chuck Liddell.
I pee the food. I hate.
You look like a
I pee
fucked
the
up
food been telling
Fallout.
them lies.
He looks like a fucked
Jesus
up
Christ.
Fallout 4
All right.
custom character.
Chicken, another bottle of Maker's Mark. If you hit the beard. If I hit the beard, you'll hit me.
Yanked up. You know, I'm not that far away from you, and I'll be in Nebraska tomorrow. I'll come over and punch you right in the dick.
All right, I'll finish this off. You fellas, keep on talking.
Yeah. Except for you, Yanked Up. You shut the fuck up.
I don't think you could hear me, Tony.
There it went.
You hear what I said, Tony?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just in case you guys thought it was all fucking wig.
It's turtle all the way down.
I put it in the chat just for Chicken to see.
I don't think the towel really helped much.
No.
I don't think the towel helped much.
Hey, I got an idea.
That's what she said.
Let's get all fucking drunkered up and then fucking shave a head like after we're all done drinking.
Chicken, I made a comment for you.
Okay, I'll read it when I'm done.
What do you got, headset in so you can hear them?
Yeah, I got my headphones on. Then.
Oh, all right.
You couldn't hear before, apparently.
Yeah, I can't wear headphones. You know why? Get my head shaved.
I thought it was because you suck dick.
Kevin said he thinks it's because you suck dick.
Oh. Well, coming from him, that's a compliment. Oh.
Ooh, so now I am tickling my brother's neck.
Tickling my neck.
I'm tickling his neck with the trimmers.
Hey, who's the snack now?
I'm a snack.
You're the snack.
Awesome. Yeah, we had all kinds of fun last weekend. Justin Chris Yanked Up got to come hang out with us and see what Phil's like in real life when we're recording. It's an experience. That's for sure.
It is.
You're not ready for it. When it happens, you're like, I think you could see Justin's face go, holy shit. Like, he was like, oh, fuck.
This is real life. Oh
And
my
he's
God.
no different from the show, correct?
No,
I warned you all.
Like, I get asked on other panels I go on, so like, Phil, is this like, are you turning it up? Or is this like a character? And I'm like, no. I'm actually turning it down because I feel like you guys might be like, that's a bit much. That's like you're only getting like Phil at level 6 or 7. I don't turn it up to 11.
I feel like if I met you and you weren't,
yeah, if you were
know what I
boring
mean?
in real life,
Yeah,
you'd be like,
I
oh,
would
fuck
be-
this
oh,
guy.
so disappointed.
Hello. Would you like to play some checkers?
Yeah.
In real life, he spells his name Phull because he's full.
I am
Phil.
full
He's Phil,
of.
but he's full. in
I
real
am
life.
full of love for myself. I will give you that. Yes. High
Tony G
voltage
coming in hot.
I'm drinking some 2% milk with some chips. And whoa, T.
Easy.
Watch
And
it.
the evening is still young.
I was about to say, unfortunately, that might
Save
be
some
less
pussy for
healthy
the
than-
rest of us.
Damn, bro. I was about to say that might actually be less healthy than my wine.
Yeah.
Chips Ahoy.
Brandon, if you had a sex doll delivered to your door tomorrow with somebody else's name and address on there,
Hypothetically,
like, you ever have that like Amazon package show up and it's not yours? Like,
Yep.
like most of the time we'll take it to the neighbor's house, be like, hey, dude, I got one of your packages. Sorry about that.
But this one, you
swear
can
to
tell
God, it's
is,
not mine.
But this one?
This one, yeah.
But this one, would you take it?
Honey,
Test drive,
this
and
was
then rewrap it, and then send it
This-
back.
this wasn't sent to me. This was sent to Schmenden. You see, it's totally not for me, Brendan. It's for a guy named Schmenden. So weirdly enough, we got the same credit card number. I don't know.
Awkward boner.
We got the same address and credit card number, but it's not for me.
I think it wouldn't be good because I'm not usually home during the day. My wife and kids are, so whatever arrived here, I'm not the one getting it first.
Okay, in that scenario, what if your neighbor came over and said, hey, the Amazon package had your front door picture on it? Where's it at? Who do you look at first, the wife or the kids?
Oh no, the kids unpack that thing is playing Tea Party with her or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
beating the hell out of each other.
Oh yeah, she's in my fort. She's hilarious.
They're dressing it up. They've done the hair. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
No, children, don't touch that.
Yeah, but they yell up the stairs, "Mom, we got a package," and she just go on with her day, and then they go to town. Yeah.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
That's like, that's like the American Dad episode.
We'll not go to
Yeah,
town.
no kidding.
I should.
Lynn, do you keep it? If it's not yours, it's your neighbor's. Do you keep it?
only to do weird shit with it, as in like.
If your neighbor comes over and is like, "Hey, dude, I got a
That's
picture
why
of
they
you in
make
my
it-
door."
Shit, we talk
That's
about.
why
No,
they
I'm
make them is
talking-
to do weird shit with them. I'm sorry, like
The
that,
weird
yes.
shit would be like involving like other people just like pranking the fuck out of them into like, setting up for some weird shit to go down. Like if it did belong to my neighbor, and depending on which neighbor it was, I would probably like
That's a good
undress
point.
the whole damn thing and put a doggy style on the front porch and like play loud music and shit so everybody can tell. And like, you know, right in the morning, like, they drive by and they just see this doggy style sex robot right in the front porch. That'd be fucking great.
That would feel like some TikTok videos would be.
And it would definitely
Lynn's TikTok would blow up.
It would definitely be like, and so my neighbor sent me a sex robot. Well, it accidentally came, and you know, continue for part 2.
Yeah,
like, what's that like? And then, you know, I have like
came.
4 fucking videos, and then yeah.
No,
Hell yeah.
me, how I would play it is I have my phone ready for this because my dining table is pretty close to my front door. So it's like, oh, okay, this is pretty bad, neighbor. So I'd set it up on the table in a nice dress, the whole 9 yards, set it there, put a dinner plate, invite my neighbor over for dinner.
Yeah.
Come on over,
There you
the
go.
food is fine. Have my phone ready to snap right when they walk through the front door so I can keep that expression on their face forever. And so like, so howdy, neighbor. Is there something you'd like to tell the class? Yeah, make sure that your weird, nasty shit stays at your house, goddammit. I don't want to deal with your shit. So yeah, I'd make a point to make it more than a little embarrassing. So hopefully they'd make sure that the proper address is put in next time. So that's, you got to nip that in the bud.
So this is the news story from the Washington Post today. So you got this. These are them announcing this. So this is Representative Hank Johnson of Georgia. Edward Markey is the old guy in the middle from Massachusetts. And then Jerry Nadler, who doesn't believe Antifa is even a thing. And then Mondaire Jones. And yeah. So.
Oh, wasn't that the guy that thought that there was an island that was going to tip over from too many million?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I can't remember
Amazing.
what island, but amazing. Amazing.
Guam, wasn't it? The island of Guam was going to
yes.
tip over from too many military.
Guam was going
to
to capsize. Yes.
Well,
now
I mean,
check this out. This
we got to
is
trust that legal opinion.
so this big sign here. Expand the court. Expand the court. You ready? Just 4 years ago. The same fucking guy.
Yep. Yep. What do you know? What are you telling me that politicians change their politics by what's expedient at the time? I don't know. Say you, sir.
Wait.
I
don't know what to do.
We need 9
plus 4.
Oh gosh, that makes 13. Unlucky 13. So what do you know? Just enough for them to be able to basically keep their majority for, well, until the Republicans, because when the Republicans get Congress back, what you're going to just see is this race to the bottom, where eventually you're going to have 240 people that are, Jerry Nadler would be a great penguin. Like, there's going to be the 13, like, boy, howdy, that's just great. But yeah, you're eventually going to get to 240 Supreme Court justices. And then, like I said, only half jokingly, Democrats, just go ahead and do what you really want to do. Confirm 666 Supreme Court justices and just get it out of the way.
Yeah. I thought it was really funny tonight. I think it was on Tucker. I was just kind of caught it in passing, but that Hank Johnson guy on the far left of your screen there, he was saying, well, the reason for this is, you know, we're just going with historical precedents and going back to, you know, how the Supreme Court used to be before the Civil War with 13 Supreme Court justices. And then Tucker was like, like everything before the Civil War was like white supremacy. Everything in our history was white supremacy, except for the Supreme Court being 13. Okay. Like it's expedient, like you're saying, it's you know, it's perfect now. You can call history now. You can say that we're going back to our roots now. But any other time, it's white supremacy.
Well, it's such a bald-faced grabbing of power because basically the Democrats they're so close to their one-party totalitarian rule, and the few things that are standing in their way, those just happen to be the things that are stopping them from complete one-party rule. So those are all the institutions that, like I said, need fixing. So again, this is going to be a bad one. I really hope this does not happen. We will see, though. If we get this passed, and I don't say this with any hyperbole, and I don't say this with any joy, I don't think the union is strong enough for this.
Probably not. No, yeah, that's the scariest part with the whole thing. Of like,
I got it. If you, from Grow the Farm Up, if you had to spend the rest of your life in a 10x10 room and only had a choice for music between Twisted Sister and Nirvana, what would you pick? Neither is an acceptable answer.
Yeah, neither.
Yeah.
I'd take Kurt Cobain's shotgun at that point if it was only the two.
Oh, damn.
I mean,
Okay, Dave.
we're not gonna take it. Oh no, we're not gonna take it.
I was about to say
Anymore.
my answer was going to be, we're not going to take it. No, we ain't going to take it. We're not going to take it.
Oh, and Mutegate's back. It's been a long time, folks, since Mutegate has hit the stream.
One more time, we're not. No.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're not going to take it anymore. Yes, this is awesome.
All right, that was fun.
And Chicken, if I may, I would like a moment to address all the audience, address everyone. It's been a hell of a week in American history. It's been quite a week for all of us. And there's been a lot of questions about, let's just rip the Band-Aid off, the trial that's been going on, the controversy surrounding it. Now, the question is, do you agree with the jury or not? And what I'm going to say is, does it matter? Does it actually matter? Because, first of all, I'd like to say I thank the jury. They had an incredibly unenviable task. It's something that I don't suspect any of you would want to do, and I know I probably didn't want to go do that. And so you have to realize that no matter what your analysis is, you saw this much. You saw this much of what actually happened there. The jurors saw this much. They made their decisions with this much information while you are making it with this much. No matter how much you've been following this case, that has been their entire lives during the time they were sequestered. So I thank the jury. They did their duty. And I, honestly, Chicken and I, we were talking before this. It's like, is it going to go this way? Is it going to go that way? Regardless, they performed an unenviable task. I thank them for it. I was figuring manslaughter and murder 3 were going to be slam dunk. Murder 2, I didn't know about. And when we did get the final verdict of, I don't want to say it, not innocent. Hey, I got around it. When we did get the final verdict, that was at the end. That's what a jury of his peers decided, whether you agree with it or disagree with it. And it's one of those things, I've been called to jury duty once, and I encourage everybody. You should try to do it sometime. It's quite an experience.
Well, I think all three of us were talking right before the verdict was handed down, and right up until the very end there, we were all kind of thinking along the same lines, like, yeah, manslaughter, it's going to piss some people off, but it's probably going to be about right, given the situation and him being a cop, et cetera, et cetera. And then it was quick. It was fast, and we're like, oh, wow. Oh, boy. And yeah, guilty. Holy shit, here we go.
Thanks.
It's not officially on the ticker. I need to add it.
But yeah, Alisto TV said, spaghetti tactic they did will probably get Chauvin walking. Chauvin, without a doubt, should have been tried and convicted of murder 3, but murder 2, they can't prove. Yeah, that was why I was thinking murder 2. But yeah, this trial, according to Alisto TV, this trial wasn't fair at all. I won't die on this hill for him, but I will say Chauvin didn't get a, in quotes, fair trial.
Agreed.
Alisto TV, the judge should done a mistrial and relocated the courtroom.
Yep.
That's very tough because you're asking the judge to surrender their own power. And Michael Flynn saw how hard that is. That generally does not happen very often. So you're asking the judge to give up jurisdiction over a case. And that's usually, so to me, in my opinion, if I would have been a juror on this case, I would have worked backwards and said, okay, manslaughter. We can all pretty much agree
That's
on
an
manslaughter.
easy one. Yep. Boom.
And then work your way up to murder 2. I suspect this jury, it sounds like they probably started at the question of murder 2, and then if that was settled yes or no, then the rest kind of just fell into place. Now, I'm not speculating. We'll get the books in a few years, but
on something you said, Phil, on well, I mean, you said a lot, but when you said you saw this much and the jurors saw this much, I want everybody to keep that in mind when they're talking about this and discussing this with people they know, whether it's on social media or in person. It doesn't matter. The problem with this is it's kind of the same thing with the people that are discussing this. I mean, even and that includes us, 100%. Everybody except the jurors got to see most of the evidence. The cops
or the people in Minneapolis got to see this much.
Right. And you cannot base your entire feelings off of this trial and this entire situation based off of what you've seen people share on social media. Especially this last week, I've seen nothing but the memes and the fear-mongering pictures that make everything look bad. I'm just like, and it goes both ways. You can't base your feelings off of this solely off of that shit, because it's incredibly misleading. This is why fact checkers got as big as they were, because I'm looking at that going, how is there not a fact check bubble on this one? That's pretty fucking egregious right there. But you've got to look at it from several angles if you really want to have an honest opinion of this. And Chicken, you mentioned the sports team reaction from people when the verdict was handed out.
Oh, it's gross. It was so gross.
It is. It's gross as hell. But remember what? 6
I like
months
me
ago,
my sports, but damn it.
Yeah, hell. But
Not
remember,
like this.
last year we were talking about this when there were no sports. What replaced sports? The presidential election. And now we're just starting to get crowds back in sports, and sports have yet to really make a full comeback. So yet again, another fill-in for Major League Sports. So what's next? I mean, is it going to be the continuation? Is it going to be the appeal process of this? Is it going to be him? I mean, it's just going to keep going and going. We're latching on to these very uncomfortable current events and treating them like we have some personal investment in them, like we very much do with sports teams. And I think that's where a lot of the tension comes from. I have to take into account why this was so swift, why the guilty verdict came down. There's many reasons why it came down. And Chicken touched on the response to the sentencing and the verdict. It's the culture that surrounds this entire thing. That's another.
Can somebody
reason.
do the Shane McMahon money dance while Tony's talking?
I'm not doing that. No, don't do that. Jesus. But specifically, if you got to go back to the incident itself, and it's right there. It's the lack of empathy. It's seeing the guy up close in the court and seeing that lack of empathy. Like you said, 7 minutes into the 9.5 minutes, he was kneeling on George Floyd. 2 minutes left before he got up, and there was no pulse, and he did nothing about it. He didn't change like this. We talked about this in the group chat the other day. The position of police officer on that kind of level does attract a specific kind of person. And a lot of those specific kind of people, unfortunately, get drunk on the power of authority. It attracts people who take that authority to another level. And once you give them that authority, they kind of run rampant with it. And that's where a lot of the problems stemming from police brutality are coming from, because the job attracts that. It's not so much the training, because training is different across the board, across the country. It's the type of person that wants to take that job and why they want to do it. And if you're a guy like Chauvin, you can see it in his eyes. You can see it in his rap sheet as a police officer that he's not exactly a great guy. He's kind of a piece of shit. And his report, he had how many reports of being a bad police officer under his rap? Exactly. Before this happened. It doesn't matter how you want to look at whether or not you think he got charged with the right crime. I think the thing that you need to keep in mind, no matter what your thoughts are on Floyd or Chauvin, is cops aren't hired to be judge, jury, and executioner. And it doesn't matter if he pulled out his gun and shot him then and there, or kneeled on him until whatever was in his system got into his system in a bad way and killed him. It doesn't matter. They're not hired to execute on the spot. They're not hired to help somebody die. They're hired to serve and protect. And I think that's really why this was kind of open and shut as quickly as it was. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot that happens here on out. Could he walk? Could it get reduced? More than likely, but we'll see how that plays out. But you got to remember what a cop is supposed to actually do in their position.
Right. I've been trying to avoid getting blackpilled on things like this for a while now. But if I were to get blackpilled on this one specifically, this was the state against Chauvin. The state trained him, gave him the powers and the responsibilities that he had, and put him into the circumstances that he was in that led to the loss of somebody's life. And then the state turned around and said, "You motherfucker." And so that's like, okay, I don't like the fact that the state is prosecuted him that way. That like, I'm glad it was a jury of peers, blah, 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 whatever. Like I'm trying to stay away from the black pill there, but I'm like, how are cops not black pilled now? Like, and you're seeing it in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like they got a whole bunch retiring, leaving the emergency management services. There's a shortage of cops, and a lot of them aren't training because of COVID in large cities. Nobody wants to be a big city cop right now, because if you do the wrong thing, as we'll get into the next story, which has some funny moments. It's a horrible tragedy, but it led to some stupid ass tweets that maybe we can get lighthearted with afterwards. But like the cops right now, who the fuck wants to be a big city cop? Like you're just a fucking target on your back right now, and you're like, well, fuck that job. Ohio teen shot. You can see how quickly and easily this was to find. So there was an immediate just fucking blow up, because this happened during the verdict being released on Chauvin. Now, this girl with the knife, you can clearly see she's holding a knife in her hand, in her right hand. She's about to lunge it forward. And actually, that guy on the right just kicked that underage minor that's on the sidewalk in the head right before that. And this is the body cam footage of the cop who just seen her grab the knife. He's got his arms up. Pop, 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 pop. ends this 13. Was she 13? 13 or 16? It says 16 on my screen.
I thought 15. I could be.
Could be. I don't know. The news changes. News changes fast. So this is just kind of what we're going off of right now. So ends this young woman's life before she ended potentially somebody else's, or severely harmed somebody else's. The reactions to this, though, like this was pretty clear cut. Everybody's trying to say, well, the girl that got killed was the one that called the cops. Well, okay. Well, then maybe when the cops show up, she should be like, hey, those are the guys that are the bad guys. And you should probably, here's what happened and do something. So she calls the cops to come help her. And then when the cops get there, they're trying to separate. There's other body cam footage of other officers that were there, and they're separating witnesses and trying to calm the situation down. And then she escalates again, throws this girl onto the sidewalk. And then the girl that died's dad comes over and kicks some other girl in the face, and then she attacks pink girl. Like, it was a fucking mess. Now, we've seen some fights in our days. I'm sure everybody that's ever watched this has seen a real life fight. Shit goes crazy real fast. Heat of the moment. This cop fucking won. Great shot. Like, not saying I want him to shoot a person, but to not, like, I was worried that, like, holy shit, is he going to kill both of these girls? Like, holy shit, that's one of those, there's two people in really close proximity, but ends up like he's some kind of expert marksman, whatever. But
the restraint until the very last second. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the tweets start coming out. This was him saving another girl from dying, right? Like, it was pretty clear cut. And like, I got called. There's a dangerous situation. Now she's got a knife. She's about to stab somebody.
A weird thing to me about LeBron James is we had people tweeting way worse than him and not taking them back.
Okay. So here's the difference why LeBron James was such a big deal. He's got what, 25 million followers on Twitter. Yeah. And those 25 million will dox the fuck out of anybody that he doesn't like. That's the problem. Like, there's some shitty journal class fucking group of people and what was it, the one that had the Trump severed head tweet? What's her name? That shitty comedian from back in the day. Yeah, she had some tweets too, but nobody cared because it's Kathy Lee. Like, nobody gives a shit about her anymore. LeBron James is fucking prominent, like, and they will dox.
They don't care about her because the right cancels everybody, so she got canceled by the right. That's how it works.
She did.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how it worked.
To be fair, she kind of canceled herself by being a shitty actress and comedian.
Well, no, she canceled herself for
responsibility for her own cancellation. No. That's not how it works, Phil.
No, that's not a cancellation. That's just being shitty.
No, she canceled herself when she started crying because people were being mean to her on Twitter. That was a fucking thing. Remember that? When she got the backlash?
It just interrupted. I think we got to.
Oh, boy. We'll take a drink. You remember that, though, when she got the backlash over the severed head thing? Yeah. And then people, she's like, people are being mean to me on Twitter. I'm like, you were being mean to somebody on Twitter. So, like, it's fair play, right?
So, like, this was like immediately after this story broke when he put that tweet out, right? Like, we're talking the window was pretty quick to judge the situation. So I'll give him that benefit of the doubt. This is a guy who does share a lot of opinions.
He needs 20 to 25 million followers. You need to have a responsibility with your voice, just like we do. We don't have we have between the three of us, we have a few hundred followers between our platforms. We have a responsibility not to say stupid shit like that.
No, I
we
agree.
understand that. Why can't
I'm getting
why
there?
Can't
I'm getting there. But it's not like he's the first person who's had a knee-jerk reaction to something, especially if you feel close to the situation, especially if it's immediately after it. But like you said, the following is the important thing here. This goes across the board for professional athletes that feel like they need to be the voice of a generation or give their opinion and have their voice be heard to influence people into thinking like them. You need to take that power that you wield with very, very great responsibility, because the power of social media, when you are a celebrity, especially a sports celebrity, and you're not being paid to give your opinions on current events, you're being paid to play professional sports and play games. You need to understand that your words do have very severe consequences. That one tweet that he put out as a knee-jerk reaction without all the information, how many people did that influence that are never, ever, ever, ever going to backtrack, even though now they have all the information? Nobody's going to change their mind. Like, half of those 25 million that saw that tweet, it doesn't matter what the truth is now, because the truth to them was LeBron James was pissed off about this, so now I'm pissed off about it. Even if he comes out with a tweet that says, hey, sorry, I fucked up, y'all, they're not going to believe it, because they're like, well, he had to say that because his agent probably told him to say it. And I believe his first tweet.
It's that tribalism piece that we talk about all the time. It's the same group of people that are doxing people and being crazy on Twitter or actually protesting and knocking down windows or screaming in people's faces as they eat at a restaurant. That's the same tribalism group on the left that Trump had storm the Capitol on the right.
Yeah.
They're the same people. They're all stupid people for the most part.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what party they're affiliated with. It's people who take charge of a situation without actually having the information and only believing the information that they want to believe, and then basically just throwing their lives away to do it without any care in the world.
Let me take this one. Urasama says saying people shouldn't speak their mind because they're famous just seems wrong to me. I understand, but
say your mind all you want.
There is a responsibility, as we just clearly laid out. He can speak his mind. Now, the fact that he said that first, then he backtracked it, deleted the tweet, and had to kind of reform his, instead of, it says you're next. When you see your picture on LeBron James's fucking Twitter that says you're next, hashtag accountability, what do you think people are thinking when they see that? Imagine it being your picture. There is zero responsibility on LeBron James's part with that tweet.
Yeah.
Zero. And it's one of the most dangerous. He's got one of the most dangerous Twitter accounts on the planet, other than Donald Trump when he could still tweet. That's the problem with it. When you have that following, you have a responsibility. You can still speak your mind. You have the biggest platform in the world. All you can do is speak your mind. Everybody's going to listen when you speak your mind. If anything, if you wanted to give an argument for silencing anybody's speech, it would be the elites like him or a Donald Trump. I'm not going to argue for it, but if you were going to argue for it, you better start at the top and work your way down.
All right, here we go. Recording the intro for the best of 2021, episode 4. You check and take some more badges so you can. Here we go. Jesus, I hate that. There. Is that better? God, it's still dark. Whatever. Fuck it. Doing this. I don't care.
This is sexy stuff right here. I don't think you understand. You could be sexier than this. You could be. But I don't think you hit that button yet. You know which one I'm talking about. The one that everybody at their post, at the end of the video, everybody does these, right? At the end of every goddamn YouTube video you watch, they're all like, oh no, YouTube's gonna ban us, go to our webpage. Just click our damn button. Nobody cares if we get banned at this point. So what's it gonna do? Click the damn button. It'll make you sexy. It'll make you sexier than this bourbon smells. And it smells great. Oh my goodness. Imagine if just clicking that button, the like button will make you as sexy. The other button and the bell, more sexy. Takes you to another level of sexiness. Sexiness that's not comparable to bourbon. Oh, did you just do it? Hey there. Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for hitting it. We'll see you all next week in the live show. Make sure you jump on in there. Tell us what you really think. As always, appreciate you. Love you. Bye. Cheers. So sexy.